Hey, what's up? Hey, hey, hey. Man, got your adult beverage hanging out with me for a little bit? Cool. Um, Gotta have that, just make the nice Saturday night subtle, lay back a little bit. You know what I mean? Um, all right, so I'm gonna hang out and wait for a few people to come on before I talk. Actually, you know what? Let me move the light a little bit. I'll be right back. I'm back. Just had to move the light a little bit. So, what's up, everybody? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Uh, okay, I'm just getting messages at the same time talking. But yeah, good evening, everybody. First thing I want to say is I feel, my heart goes out to Odessa, Texas right now. I mean, I know if you guys know, but right now there's another freaking shooting. It's over now. The killer's dead. But of course, lives were taken again. It's getting crazy out here, man. It really is getting out of hand. Something has to be done. I'm just saying, I don't like to talk about politics on this at all, but really something has to be done. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't just keep turning your eyes and turning your head thinking like, okay, everything is cool. You know what I mean? So, everything should stay as before, and we just have to work it out. No, something needs to be done, and we all have our opinions on what needs to be done. So I'll leave that alone. So anyway, yeah, I do feel my heart goes out for him. Also, I want to say hello to all the new guys that came on my page this week. Thank you very much for joining the crew, joining the production, checking us out. Seeing what we want to do and what we're doing. So, welcome to all the new guys. I see some new people coming on there. Hey, James, what's up? I work with James, by the way. I never saw you here before, brother. All right, so you're going to hear some film stuff, what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So now you're in my world now, kid. So, first thing I want to do is talk about acting. Now, I was acting for a long time, for many years. Even before I started directing. Well, actually, it's almost simultaneously, but more acting than directing and producing for like a long time and stuff like that. With my old crew back in New York and Far Rockaway and stuff like that. Since I was a kid. So there was as you grow, you just learn different things. You start picking up different habits. You start to really understand yourself, and then you realize whether or not you're brave enough, or can you go to a certain level within yourself to get the character that you want, pertaining to whatever they're asking you to do. You start to really understand what you are and what you're doing. See, it's one thing about acting that I think actors just need to start telling people more about, like when they say they're actors. One thing great about acting, when you become a really good actor, is that us actors really know ourselves more than the average person. I'm going to say that because you have to, because you have to know your limits. You have to know where you can go and where you don't want to go. You have to know how to bring out the emotions that you normally don't bring out every day. Normally, that no one brings out every day. Really at all. Really, people go to work. You do your thing, right? You put your mask on. Boom. Now you're a singer. You're a player. Everyone is kumbaya right now. But really behind that mask, you're like, yo, I can't stand these motherfuckers, but I got to do it because you know why? I got to get a check, right? So that's your mask. When it comes to actors and everything, all that has to go. Our mask a lot of times is really when we walk into that like either rehearsal or a casting session, the truth comes out in the character that we do, because then it gives us freedom. The way we're wired is that if we can do something else, we're freer doing something else than actually what we are. Some are like that. Like I was never that way, but I was real close. Because you just want to get away sometime. Now, everybody has their way of escaping. People take, actors just like other characters to learn, to grow with, to learn, just to kind of get into the skin of somebody else. That's their vacation. Some people take a freaking cruise. Some people visit other countries. Some people take take a staycation with the family and chill and hang out, lay back, watch some bad movies and eat popcorn. An actor's escape vacation is going to somebody else's body. It's how we're wired. And that sometimes is more exciting than anything else, because now you're going to a place that you either have to make up on your own if it's not already established by the environment that they made in the set, but that's something else, because a lot of times the environment, the background, the feeling, all that stuff comes from you inside. No one tells you that. The one thing about acting too is that it's really hard to teach. They always tell you, hey, go to a class, go to a class, go to a class. You know what really a class is really good for? I may get kickback, I get some kickback on this every now and then, but you know what class is good for? It's good for like when you first start, to understand what it's all about and to be around like-minded people who want to do the same thing, to give you courage, to give you confidence. Because if you see someone else doing it or going to a certain level that you feel like, I'm a little too nervous to go there, but see someone do it, then it's like, wow, they're brave. I can do that too. It's just a confidence building for a while. So I would recommend to go when you first start. But as you get established and you start going on jobs and you start actually doing stuff, you're actually getting into movies, you're getting into certain plays or what have you, now you're going where there's live bullets. And classes can't really prepare you for that. They can prepare you for like getting your personal self prepped. But you as an actor, you have to really prep yourself to deal with just life. You get on the set, people are all different, directors are all different. Just every freaking environment is different, and they want you to do different things every fucking time. So you yourself have to know yourself so well that you know where to put your head at to do your job, despite all the shit that's around you, that may be around you. Now, hopefully you go to an environment or you go to a set or you be around a group of people that you really vibe with. And we all want that, and we all try our best. And then nowadays, actors, you don't have to settle for shit. There are a lot of fucking jobs out there. And that goes for everybody in the industry. Pick something you really want to get into, that you really, really feel for. There's a lot of choices. This is not back in 1965. It's not 1945 where it was just, not too many studios. People couldn't really afford a camera anywhere. It was really hard and was just really isolated in pockets in the country and even in the world. Now, everybody and anybody can make a movie. Everybody's like, pretty much the world is small now because we're all synced, for online. So now you have choices. So you go find those choices, something that really you gravitate to, and not just taking it for the freaking money. You're always going to get paid. Well, I'm not always going to get paid, but you're always going to find something that you can get paid, that you enjoy doing. Don't settle for shit. Nothing. You can go out there, find what you want, and most of the time you will have a good experience. Because you find something you really like, and you interview them. Listen, I interview actors all the time, but at the same time, I know sometimes they interview me. They want to make sure that I'm not a freaking nutcase, and sometimes I am, but all in all, can we vibe? Do we like the same things? And when we speak to them, you have to be with these guys for a long time, intimately, like getting into character, like for hours, and practicing, rehearsing, and going over lines, correcting lines, trying to feel where that person should go, right? For those moments. It takes a lot of time. This is not like going to a fucking office and we give you some papers and say, hey, yo, can you finish this by 5? Cool, and I'm out. This is a whole different world. This is a whole different beast. You're more intimate with almost anybody than your freaking family half the time when you actually do a film. So as an actor, I think that one thing about acting, for me, I think what always helped me is, and I think I spoke to you guys about this before, was, what do you do to help you find a character really fast? Well, actually not really fast because everyone had his own speed, but just kind of get the ball rolling quicker. And for me, it was always, and I spoke about this before, so I maybe repeat myself if you heard me the last time, so pardon me on that. But it's always going to be the physical. The physical is always the easiest part to not the easiest part, but that's the part you really want to start with. Like I personally don't start with the words. I just care about who the character is. If you have some backstory to give me some kind of a structure of this person, then give it to me. And then I will go into my own little mental lab and I start to say to myself, if someone filmed me right now, sitting down or walking down the street, what would they be filming? Like right now, what would they be filming? And I have to get my physical part, together on how this person's going to move, sitting down, walking, grabbing cups, such and so forth. Once I get the movements, once I get that, and then you as a director or something say, okay, this is your line. A lot of times your body would dictate your voice right away. You may have two, maybe three tops of ways you can kind of enunciate a word, or the reflections will come off a little differently, maybe three different ways tops. But really your body will automatically find your voice, and that makes it so much easier because now then you can really get into other parts of the character. And then as you start filming, you always have a go-to, especially if you come on set or you have a day that you just have to act, whatever, and you're just not in the right mindset. Something happened or whatever, family or whatever it is, you're just not right, just not quite there. You don't have to think too much. You can just do a certain thing, a certain movement or whatever to kind of get you into that place. And then when you start to speak, it'll just pop out, it'll just come right out. You know what I mean? So that is, to me, the easiest way. And if you're an actor out there, right, and you haven't tried it, give it a shot. You see what I mean? That always worked for me. And acting too, also for me is, it's very therapeutic in a lot of ways. And I mean by therapeutic by the roles that I choose. Now, when I was doing stuff, the roles that I choose were therapeutic for me because I enjoyed it and it really connected with me, so I just went for those roles. And I think a lot of times, of course, most actors will go for roles they really feel, they can really work with, they really want to gravitate to. Most do, half the time. But more than half the time, you really don't know, is that a lot of time they say, you know what, I'm really into more of what the whole thing looks like than me really being really interested, like personally interested in that genre. Okay, so really see myself as that character, because a lot of times I get this, being on both sides in the indie world anyway, being on both sides, this is what I see a lot of times, and I try to kind of break through with actors where they see the movie that they want to get into, right? They understand your vision and they know what the story is about, but what they connect to a lot of times with the character is not what the movie's about. Is more what the character's about. And and you think about it, if you hear me say that, you say, well, yeah, it should be like that. Not really, because, either whatever's going to work, but I'm just going, general here. What I try to do is like, okay, listen, if this particular character has like a troubled past, they're honing in on a troubled past, which they should. But also, you must understand the world that they're living in. And how would that troubled person, for example, respond to their environment? A lot of times, a lot of actors I've met always just going for what the character is internally, and don't concern themselves too much externally. And I think, of course, you start out in. We all know that, right? You start out, you go, in, out. Excuse me, in and out. But when you're in, people look at that. And what hurts a lot of times with doing that is that if you just worry about internally what the character is, which is where you should start, and you don't really care too much about the external, then it gets a little uncomfortable, and that's when you start hearing things. There's a common denominator, a lot of cut, do this, try to find this. You get a lot of instruction starts to come your way. Because you're not concerned too much about what's going on outside. You are kind of, you're really more internal, and that's fine. But once you get the internal, your job is not done. Always understand, as an actor, your job is never done. Once you once you're comfortable with the actor itself, there's a whole lot left to do. Now you're going to have to come out, step into that world, and how is that actor going to respond to the environment, not just what's happening in front of them, the person they're speaking to, or just the event that's going on with that actor, but the entire environment. You know what I mean? Like, how is it? When they walk, is the environment rocky? Is the environment, I don't know, like dystopian, a lot of shit everywhere, whatever, or is there's always something wrong? So if you're in an environment like that, even if you're conversing with some people, most of the time your eyes are probably always moving around, just like a hitman would, like in a mob movie, or a cop would in a mob movie, or a detective in a mob movie. You always see that, and that's what directors tell them, because in real life you would do that. But if you're in that environment, say, for example, a dystopian environment or a dangerous environment, and you're dealing with the people that's around you or just in front of you, and you're doing this, a lot of times I would always think that you would not only be concentrating on the person, but being in that world, you always will be looking. So instead of your internal part is there, it's coming out, you're talking away, you're finding your voice, your movements and everything, but that one little piece of knowing your surroundings is missing. And a lot of times you see that in a lot of performances. So as an actor, think of it that way. That's just my opinion. That's what I feel works best. And with my guys, that what works best for them. And you'll notice that because they understand the environment that they're in. They understand the character, but everything around them, you have to look at it as if the character was born there, say the character is like pretty much, grew up there or something like that, then, the character is going to move a certain way. If things are disheveled around in the area, right, you're not going to walk very smooth, right? You're not going to have this. Whoever your character is going to have its own. They're going to have its own rhythm. But also, if things are kind of off key, you always have a little shift in your walk. I would think, that's what I would do. Because now I already got the walk, I got the reflection, I got the feel, I know who this guy is, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just walking, I'm doing my thing, I'm saying my lines, but now I have to respond to the environment. So I just want to say that. So when you do something and you find the character, then concentrate on saying, okay, how does that person reflect around the environment without anything going on? Just walking down the street, getting a cup of coffee, eating a sandwich, talking to somebody in a bank or something, wherever you're going to be, or some intergalactic, I don't know, flea market or something. Something normal. Like, how would they walk? Because I know I walk differently in New York, where I'm from, born and raised, you know what I'm saying? And then I walk differently a little bit when I'm in Florida, because there's certain things I don't have to be concerned about in different places. You know what I mean? I am who I am. That's not going to change. You know what I mean? So, but you're going to be conscious about things a different way. Just like you're driving. Example, you're driving in New York. The next thing you know, you're driving in Virginia, or you're driving in Florida or South Carolina. It's a little different. You know what I mean? You may have a little more at peace. Now in South Carolina, it's kind of driving because the roads are big. It's one big road half the time. There ain't too many roads. It's big. It's all highways. No holes. No fucking potholes, shit like that. People coming out, rats running around, shit like that. Then you go to New York, and you drive, and it's going to be a little different. Yeah, it's going to be moving a little way because you're responding to the environment. Someone can be talking to you. You could be going to the store. Hell, you could be going to to someone's house is walking up the steps, but you're walking up those steps a little different. You're walking up the steps somewhere in South Carolina or Virginia, or you're just walking up the steps. Yeah. Walking up the steps back home in New York, it's a little more, a little more cautious. You go in there, you open the door, you're looking around, you walk in, but you walk in a little light, make sure there's creaking, or you're hearing something. There's things going down with a simple walk up the steps. So anyway, that's my take. And like I say, acting is all about knowing all your points, all your points, being that person. And the main thing of any actor to do any part, like I said, to repeat myself one more time, is understand how you respond to your environment more than, just as much as you're responding to the scene and the characters and you trying to get that vibe, but understand everything else around you that you need to respond if you was there. Don't take for advantage like, well, if I walk over there, the door's going to work because, you got the hands over here helping it out. If I walk down the hall, there's not going to be any bumps or anything because, we got someone making the sets, we got all the hands, we got the PAs and all this stuff like that. We should be all right. No, you got to get that out of your head. In this real world, how would you come out the door and make it right? Would you be looking around? In this world, are things clean? Are things not clean? You know what I mean? Are things big or small? You know what I mean? Whatever it is it rocky? Is it foresty? Is it interlactic? You know? So I think to really come full circle for any character, the last bit would be the environment. And the next thing too I want to get into is now going to the other side of this conversation is my experience, my personal experience. It's just my opinion, guys. So I'm just saying, working with actors, right? And I really should have said like working with a crew, because everybody in the crew have a certain skill set, and their brain works a different way, just like mine does. And you have to be conscious of that. You just can't have everything going one direction. You really don't. It doesn't really. That's not a good idea. Everyone's works a little differently. You're going to have policy. You're going to have a way to do things, but everybody responds differently. You may say, well, yeah, of course it does. Yeah, you do that. Well, most of the time, most people don't do that. They say it so, but they don't. And I think when you're on the set, especially in film, and you're working so intimately with everybody, you have to understand everybody and how they respond, like anything else. You know what I mean? So I think the first thing you do, especially when it comes to actors, right? You go on that side. If you're directing something and you're directing actors, first thing you want to do is know who that person really is. And you should do, and I would say, I will hopefully do your prep on who you cast. Like you did to interview, like you know this person pretty good. Like, you know, you don't know everything about them, obviously, but you know, you had a good idea of who this person is because you interviewed and you talked to them. You already had a drink with them. Maybe you went out, had dinner, whatever. You know, you got to get to know this person. So you know what they like to vibe off of. You know what I mean? You know what maybe makes them laugh or whatever. You know, who knows? Okay, you may know what they like on their sandwich. I don't know. But you have to know them enough where when you approach them or ask them to do something, what will make them tick. And it's not like you're trying to be conniving and sneaky and manipulative, or maybe a little bit, but they know that. And they want you to come to them in a certain way. Because you got to understand, they are pretty much stripping naked in front of you every day. Mentally, half the time, and sometimes physically, but most of the time mentally. They're stripping everything out, giving you an inner part of themselves that they don't expose daily. Like most people don't, you know, so they're doing that. They're pushing it if they have to. They're just bringing it out, saying, here you go. No one really sees this, but I want to put it into your project. And when it's done, now the whole world's going to see it. And I trust you to take care of this for me. That's what it is. And I look at it that way. Whatever you give me is my responsibility to take care of that, you know, and not kick it around and throw dirt on it. You know, take care of it. And when you distribute it and show it to people, package it the way it should be packaged, because they just took out of themselves something that they normally don't do. You know, or well, they're actors, but at the same time, they're human. Always understand that first. I don't know, you know, any director who never worked with actors so much, always understand one thing. You know, we may be in the entertainment business, but we didn't come out the womb all of a sudden just kind of like jumping on stage. Maybe some feel that way, but we're human. Go to school, we learn the language, we learn how to read and write, we learn how to shit and piss in a bowl. We are human. We just decided that we like to do this, and we went ahead and we do this. No different if someone says, I like the law. Well, I want to be a lawyer. Oh, I want to be a paralegal, or whatever, you know, or I want to go into law enforcement. They just get a feeling and they go, but they didn't come out the womb with a gun. If you're in law enforcement, you didn't come out the womb with, you know, some patent leather shoes on and start tap dancing and shit, you know, when you're 3 months. You had to grow, right? So always understand, everyone's human first. People forget that. They think because you're entertainers, you're freaking from Mars somewhere, you're an Uruk-hai that came from the dirt and shit like Lord of the Rings. No, you're just a fucking man or a woman who said, hey, I like to act. Can I get down? I just want to give it a shot. You're just a regular person. So you treat them the same way. So sometimes you gotta think of it like, okay, well, let me approach this person because I need them to do something. Know your staff. Know the people around you. Be conscious about that. Don't get lazy. Once you get lazy, you know what happens? A lot of kickback. People start to leave. You get lazy. They feel you're lazy because they feel you don't give a shit. You're saying what you want to say, moving on, not caring about how this is going to turn out. Even if you're hard about things, it's about how you do it. You can be hard all you want. But if you know exactly what you want and you ask them, hey, can you do this? You do that. We need to do this or do that. And you doing all this. But you approach them all a little differently and they understand you at least thinking that over. Like you're thinking like, I know you, man. I know you, woman. You know, this is how you want people to approach you and I'm figuring it out best I can. Help me out here. You know, people respect that. Wouldn't you? You always got to think of that. Yeah, you talk about how to approach and all this and this and that and the other, but what will you want? Well, how you want someone to approach your ass? So once you think of that way, then you take that step and approach them the same way someone approaches you. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it doesn't matter what your position is. It doesn't matter what fucking sector you're in. Just think about yourself, for Christ's sake. And that's how I do it. I talk to myself that way. Think about yourself, for, fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want? You do it the same way. So I tell you what, nowadays, always understand this, guys, especially when it comes down to like directing actors and everything else, unless they're contractually bounded, and if they are, there's always a way out. There's always a hole somewhere. They just go. You don't want that. You want them to trust you. You want those guys to freaking bleed for you, and they want what they want. And one thing they want you to do is be enthusiastic about the material that you're doing. If you're enthusiastic about it and you love this shit, they thrive off that. One thing about an actor is that they thrive off your energy, especially if you're a director, because you're in their face every fucking day for hours and hours and hours, and you're intimately talking to them about things that you're not normally intimately talking about to people all the time, And so, they have to trust you and they have to know that you're all in. Like, you're all fucking in. You better be more in than this than they are. They want to feel like, fuck, I'm in it, but damn, this motherfucker's really in it. And now, you know what? That gives them comfort. That's like a blanket. Like, yo, I'm good. Because I know, number one, this person is going to bust their ass to make sure not only is it good, but it's completed. And it's going to go to wherever we plan to go. Number two, he's not going to be easily swayed, or she's not going to be easily swayed, say if someone leaves or someone does this, because their passion is so freaking bright. Their passion is so heavy that it's going to take a lot to move them away from what they're doing. They want that comfort zone. They want that blanket. And once you express that, you express that on a meeting, a simple meeting. And that's what actors want. Give them that. You come on the set, or you come on or want them to be in your film or your project, and you just laxy-daisy, like, yo, it's going to be cool. And, we have a good time every now and then, but, we're going to try our best, whatever, we're going to do what we got to do. Like, I'll look at you like, yeah, you know what? I think what you need to do is take a nap and wake up and then, find out what you really want to do first. Because that's how it looks every time you enter something and with a lackadaisical, way of doing things. Your energy reflects so much more than any job. I don't give a fuck. Any job. If a boss comes in the corporate world or some shit, like any old thing, you're still doing your job, right? You want that the same way when you're in a film set or you're doing a project of any kind. But that person has to earn that first. It's different. See, in the corporate world, motherfuckers don't have to earn shit. Someone says, oh, you've been there for 20 years. All right, you're the manager now. Like, yay. And that's it. Doesn't mean you qualified. It's just like you got it by default shit, because you know what? You held on long enough. That's the corporate world. Shit don't make much sense anyway. And people don't really earn the right for the positions half the time anyway. And you just kind of going by because he can fire me. I need the money right now. And if he does, it'll take me a while to get another job. So let me just deal with this shit for a little while, whatever. And that's how it works. When it comes to us, we're a whole different breed. The whole world is just different. You know that these guys are coming in looking for your energy to move on, because they got to express certain energy in front of the camera for everybody in the world to see. So everything kind of funnels to you as a director. And as a director with actors, man, you just have to know the person first. For every actor, I say directors have to know 2 people for every actor. Think of it that way. Everybody comes in twos. One is the person who's not an actor, just the regular red-blooded person that's coming on the set that just talks to you normally. And then there is the actor, the character that the person trying to portray. Those two people you have to talk to every day. You know what I mean? You talk to those two people every day, you should be okay. You go in there thinking if there's one person, you may have a problem. Yeah, it sounds a little nuts, but it's true because that's what they're doing. They're coming in one way and have to like end up another way. Obviously, their head has to be split somehow. So you, as a director, have to understand that and approach them as one and two. You come to them and say, how you doing? Hey, you want some breakfast? Yeah, it's cool, blah, blah. Yeah, how's your kids good? Yeah, that's great, man. Looking good, man. We getting buff. Oh, man. Go to the woman. Girl, damn, were you losing weight? What? Man, whatever. Like, yeah. Then flip. They're like, okay, listen, this is what we need you to do. What do you got for me? And they may say, oh, I got a good idea, this and the other. I said, yeah, once you walk it like this, look like this. Now you get into the number two part. Now they're putting themselves into the character. Now they leave in who they are that they were a couple minutes ago and now go into somewhere else. And now you have to speak to that person. It really works that way. I mean, it really, really does, you know? And sometimes it's easier with people, you know, some people are easier to deal with than others, you know? So you, first things first, is know the person as a director, know the person first before anything else. And once you do that, everything else will take its place and it should work a little smoother. That's my experience. I see that all the time. And that's all you need to do. It's the easiest way. Treat people like you want yourself first and you'll be okay. It may sound corny, but that's how it is. And that's how it is for a whole set. Because people understand if you're not into film or filmmaking or making this whole thing, you know, us guys and women out there who do this for a living, who do this on the side or whatever, or just do this, understand that it's like a jungle. It's more of a jungle than any environment. Everybody's a different animal. I mean, totally different animals, man. You're going to have your gazelles and you're going to have your tigers, man. You're going to have your freaking porcupines, and every now and then, you know, you're going to have your giraffes. And you have to approach all those motherfuckers a little differently or they won't respond to you. Now, you say, well, man, I'm not a freaking psychologist. That's a lot of fucking work. They're either going to do the work or they're not. In a way, yes. But like anything else, people got a lot of choices now, man. I mean, even in the corporate world, they give it this way nowadays, right? Back in the freaking 70s or even the 80s before, right? You get a freaking job, you're there for fucking 35, 32 years, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And you get your pension, you bounce. Now, most employers have to know that they're lucky if they have someone stay with them for like 7 years because we have more choices. Kids got more choices now than we did when we were growing up. They're not staying around. Why would you? Why in God's name, nowadays, with all the choices we have, would you stay anywhere for 30 years? You had to before. That's how the world worked. That's how the system was structured. So it worked out well, worked out for them. Now, everybody can act their own business easier. Well, can create their own business easier. People can travel easier now. And also, people can communicate. That's the key. Communication is huge. So never think someone can just say, you know what? Yeah, I don't like you anymore. I'm out. You can't say, well, you're not going to be nothing in this town. You're 86, man. Nah, even if they are, go fucking online, create their own freaking environment, make their own show, and got their money back. Like, you know, you can't really threaten like they used to, you know? People still say, oh, man, you're never going to work in this town again. That shit worked back in the fucking 70s and 60s and even the 80s, you know? Nowadays, guys like, yo, please tell everybody you hate me. Please tell everybody, because now that's good publicity for me. And now I'm going to go online, I'm going to do a show, and I'm going to dress that bitch up and get my own following, and then get my own sponsors. And now I control all my own shit. So please talk bad about me and get my fucking engine going. And that's what they do. And you guys see it all the time. That's all it is. All this shit, you know what I mean? It's happening. This is why when you build a film or you create anything, always understand people got choices. That's no different than you. So just, you know, treat people the way they need to be treated well, because they can just pop and that's your ass and you've assed out, you know, and then you're looking for something and you're skirmaging, you're running around like crazy You know, that's why interviewing is very, very important. And when you interview an actor, like I do, and I am doing too, is I just want to know them first. Like I really don't care about their resumes. I mean, for me, I really don't care. I mean, I may get to a point if you're like working for a big studio and then you say, okay, now you worry about numbers and shit. Like, well, if I get this actor, so how much money does he normally bring in? And what's the average and everything? And what's his how does market look for him as opposed to me? You know, that shit. That's something else. On the indie level, like a lower level, like we are now, I just want to know who you are because we're going to have to work a lot together. And for me, and it should be for everybody, a paramount, I should say, like a paramount habit that you should have is good communication. Your communication is big. Your work ethic is big. Yeah, in a lot of jobs, work ethic is big. When film comes along, that's really big in the indie level. And for me, for example, that's huge. Since there's a lot of moving parts, everyone's scattered everywhere when everything's over with, and trying to get everyone back, I'm quite sure it's like a farmer with fucking cows or some shit running everywhere, and you gotta get all those motherfuckers back. You know what I mean? In the corral is something like that. It's not like it's hard. They have lives. They have things they have to do, and you have to schedule and try to find that one moment or that one time or whatever to get them back together. Now, I'm talking about people who still work 9 to 5. Now, if you have enough capital to get people who do this for a living every day, all day, even then it's an issue because they got other responsibilities. You know, they have other jobs. So, all in all, it's tough. It really, really is tough. That's why when you approach or even direct actors, man, always understand, man, they can just bounce just like you can. So what you want is to just create a kind of a family environment, an environment that they enjoy coming to every day, that you would enjoy enjoy coming to every day too. And you know who that starts with? You know what that starts with? It starts with you. Because you, like any job, decide who's going to come into the building. And you are trying to make sure that everything kind of meshes the best way they can. You're always going to have some outlier. You're always going to have an ass in there somewhere. But that kind of, it kind of gives it balance a little bit. You try not. But there's always someone sneaks in. A little ass sneaks in. A little snake sneaks in. And you even see that shit coming. Like, oh, whoa, what the fuck? Where did you come from? And you're like, no, you hired me. You're like, fuck. How do I do that? That's how it works. So that's why it starts with you. So when shit hits the fan, especially when it comes to director, you know what I mean? When shit hits the fan and there are issues, a lot of times the way I look at it for myself too, I don't care how big I get, I always say that's my fault. I'm the one that said, you should work here with this person and you guys should get along. And you didn't do your work of sitting down with them, having an interview with them, by saying, well, let's try some things out first and see if you guys gel. Because, like I said, all the prep, pre-production is fucking incredibly important, hugely important, because principal photography, a lot of times, man, you can't turn around. You're already here. Money spent, crew is ready to rock, gun is loaded, whatever. Bad analogy, my bad. But, everything is ready to roll, and engines are turned on, you can't really turn back. So pre-production is huge. And then you get everybody together, and you got to get those actors, those guys, those women together and see if they mesh well. And not only on film. Yes, you want it to look good on film, like, yeah. But it's behind the scenes you really worry about. Because if you start hearing bickering like kindergarten, you can't blame anybody but yourself. So. But that's what I wanted to talk about today, is just how to prep for that as a director, even indie level, because not everyone's getting paid a lot, and a lot of times it's hard because they want to get paid. And one thing about actors, just think about this. I'm quite sure a lot of you are already doing this, and you probably heard about this and all this, but I just want to repeat this. Like, don't worry about the money so much. more than worrying about your performance. Because even if I'm a person who has the money to pay you whatever, I'm looking at you like, yo, how much passion did you have in your prior films? I want to see what you did until you get, so when you get money, money makes you more than what you already are. So, people will call for references, like any job, they'll call. I have that, I've done that too. How that person work out? How do you like them? What they do? How's their work ethic? Any problems with them? Yeah. Do they call? Do they not know? You start doing all that. You know what I mean? So, you just have to, it all starts, like I said, with the director. So just understand where you are and then, get the right people. You're ready to rock, All right. So, and also too, I have an itinerary tonight. It won't be too long. I just want to say, if there's anything you guys want to talk about, please let me know. While I rattle off and stuff like that. Again, I want to thank you all who have joined my page this week, and I appreciate it. And watch us on this crazy journey. Right now, I'm doing season 2, so it's a little slow. So you don't hit too many posts anymore. Not for a little while anyway. We're still doing things, so it's going to take a little time to kind of start getting some new footage, and that's coming soon. The first date that we're going to start filming, really hardcore, is going to be September 20th. So that's going to be a big day because that's a scene I had to do over because I lost it in the SSD card. Look at my past video. I'll tell you all about that in the past video, and that was a nightmare. I'm still kind of like, ugh, but now I know how, I know how to prevent that a little more now. So guys out there, get a shit called Smart Technology. If you don't have it already, if you don't know about it already, I'm quite sure a lot of people do for years. It's nothing new, but if you don't, that's what it is. Smart Technologies. It's a bunch of softwares out there that will read your SSD cards for you. Once you put it in your dock, you plug it into your computer, you initiate the application, and it will tell you all about the history about that SSD card, including your internal drive that's in your computer. It'll tell you how many hours is on it, how many times that you may have overwrote it. It tells you all that, and it gives you a good idea of how much life is left. So that's just a quick overview of what I was talking about. And there was something that I kind of overlooked, and I lost everything. So that's not going to happen again. I'm making sure of that. So if you don't know about that now you do. Go out there and get your Smart application. Very handy. Oof. Anyway. All right. So if no one is plugging in, want to hear something or have a comment or anything like that, I am going to take a break. Why did I take a break? I'm just going to go back into my living room and I'm going to lay back. I'm going to have a nice cigar. I'm going to have my little beverage like I always do and just chill, and just, live. So, all right, guys. Also, too, I guess you know about the storm. Well, it looks like the storm is really moving all the way to the right. I'm on the west side of Florida, so we're not really going to get much, hopefully, as long as the storm don't do a hard left. You know what I mean? If the shit does a hard left, you're like, ah! So right now, we're looking all right. So anyway, we should be okay. Now, the East Coast, all you guys on the East Coast over there by Miami and all that stuff, you know what I mean? I'm wanting you guys to come out this like champions with no problems, no casualties or anything. So it's looking good so far. So all my Eastern brothers out there on the eastern side of Florida, I'm there with you, man. And, you'll be all right. You know what I mean? So anyway, love you guys. I will speak to you guys next week sometime. And I will be back probably another week or so. I'm going to take a break or something, but who knows? I may come back tomorrow. Who knows? Anyway, love you guys. All right. Everybody be safe out there. Peace.